Hey guys, James here, and welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm going to be going over some of the best activities that you can do to replace gaming. Now, when we quit gaming, we tend to be left with this void in our lives. We've got all this free time and all this energy, and we don't know what to do with it. So we try to find things that we can channel our passion into, our creative energy, our productive focus that we have. And oftentimes we come up short. You see, when you play video games, something happens to your ability to find enjoyment in things. Due to the overstimulating nature of video games, it's so difficult for you to find excitement and passion when you take up a new hobby. That's why I don't always recommend people just dive into hobbies and start new activities as soon as you quit gaming. What I prefer to do is build this idea of creating the hero life. You need to create this ideal vision that you have for yourself and work towards that. So if you haven't seen the video already, go and check out the video I made about becoming your own hero. There'll be a link somewhere around here. And once you've done that, come back here and think about some of the ways you can incorporate these activities into your life and how they fit into that vision you have for the ideal self of the future. Now, the reason why it's so important to bring new activities into our life is because gaming fulfills a lot of needs. It could be a need for exploration, a need for challenge, escape, creativity, social activity, all these kinds of things. And to get the most out of our new game-free lifestyle, we need to figure out a way to fulfill those needs in our everyday lives. And while it's not going to happen every single day, while you're not always going to be engaged in these hobbies, it's important to figure out some things that you can do that you actively want to work towards and that you can see yourself doing in the future as a long-term hobby, passion, skill, whatever it might be. So without further ado, let's get into the list. And the first thing that I recommend people do is learning an instrument or learning to play music. And this could also be learning to create music online, electronically. But generally, this is one of the most popular hobbies people want to take up. It's one thing that so many adults regret not doing, is learning an instrument at a young age. And I'm so grateful for everything that music has brought into my life. Since I was first learning the piano when I was a kid, to learning guitar and singing and violin and all these things. And this brought so much enrichment into my life, so much fulfillment and passion and creativity. And that's fundamentally why it's such a great hobby for people who quit gaming, because not only are you actively challenging yourself and accomplishing things, and you have a way to measure your progress, you also are being creative. Because you can make so much progress so quickly, it fires up all those reward sensors in your brain and almost feels like a video game. If you can start to see music less of a chore and something that you have to rigorously devote hours to and something that you can learn to enjoy and have fun with, then it becomes a game. You start seeing your progress, you start figuring out ways to incorporate new pieces and new routines into your music, and it becomes such an enriching experience. And not only that, there's also a social aspect to it too. So you get so many different things, so many different ways of fulfilling your needs through music, that I always recommend people try and incorporate music into their lives in some way. And I know it can be expensive for some people, but you should be able to look on local marketplaces and all these kind of things for easy, cheap ways of getting into that hobby. The second thing on this list is coding. And I know it's a bit of a meme by now, like go and learn to code, but it's one of the best things that I've found for people who quit gaming, because there's so many transferable skills from video games to coding. Not only are we as former gamers wired to seek out that logical kind of technical aspect of coding, but in the same way as music allows you to see progress extremely quickly, so does coding. If you just put in a couple of hours here and there, before long you'll be able to create projects that in the past would have seemed like an impossibility. Whether it's building a web page, designing an app, creating something that makes your life easier by systemizing it and automating certain things, or whether it's something that you build up and sell to other people, coding has so many transferable skills and so many aspects to it that make it such an enriching and incredible hobby or activity to take up. It's where I got my start when I first embarked on this journey to quit gaming, and I started learning HTML, CSS right from the basics, going into JavaScript with the goal of becoming a web designer. And this ultimately led to me getting a marketing role and moving out here to Thailand, living my ideal life. And if you do want to start coding or programming, what I'd recommend is figuring out what you want to build. Is it an app that solves a certain problem? Is it a website for somebody you know? Is it something that you want to turn into a profitable skill? Whatever it is, focus on that and focus on doing as much practical application of that as possible. So if you want to build websites, start building websites. Go through the tutorials on things like Free Code Camp and Code Academy. You don't need to pay for anything. That's what I will say. Go through those and start building right away. You'll learn so fast, and before you know it, you'll be building incredible things just through code. And it's so rewarding, so engaging, and it's something that you can get lost in for hours, similar to gaming. Now, the third activity on this list is photography or videography. Now, photography is one of those hobbies that does have a bit of an investment attached to it. You do need to get a camera, although with smartphones now you're able to do so much in the way of photography, and pretty much everyone has a smartphone with them. Half the videos on my channel were shot with the front-facing camera of my Samsung. So there's so much you can do with your phone that even if you don't want to pursue like professional photography with a full high-end camera later on, you can do a lot with just what you have right now. And photography is something that allows you to explore every avenue of your creativity and your passion. It doesn't matter what you choose to shoot, it's all yours. You get to choose what you want to do, and it's a representation of your passions, your beliefs, your ideals, and the values that you have that you get to express in an incredibly versatile and open medium that anyone can enjoy. Anyone can appreciate a photo, and there's so much beauty in that, so much value in that, that I haven't found any hobbies quite as enriching as photography. And while I don't do it as much anymore, although I would like to return to it in the future, the things that I did, the experiences I had, the places I got to visit through like outdoor photography, wildlife photography, portraiture, all these kind of things completely changed my life. And I don't think I'd be in the same place that I am now if it wasn't for that initial interest in photography, because it opened the world of video marketing to me and the power of YouTube. And because I had the equipment from doing photography, I've got the things necessary to start that up. So there's so many different avenues you can take from just picking up a camera and shooting some pictures. And number 4 on the list is a pretty simple one that some of you probably already do. And if you're like me and got real into like gaming addiction, it's probably something that you kind of lost sight of over the years, and that is reading. Now, everyone knows that reading is incredibly nourishing to the soul, to the mind, and it allows you to absorb knowledge and wisdom from so many people throughout history. If you want to learn about ancient civilizations or entrepreneurs running billion-dollar companies or learning how to live off the land, I don't know, there's a book for it. And there's an endless supply of knowledge out there just ready to be snapped up. And the reason why it's so powerful is because it's not immediately gratifying, like a video game. And one of the most important things you can do when you stop playing is to get over that need for instant gratification. And reading is a great way to do that, because you're setting out a couple of hours, 2-3 hours here and there, to really sit down and focus on one particular thing. You can't read with distractions going on in the background, like with Twitch and YouTube. You have to focus on that one particular thing, and that's what makes it so effective. Not only are you learning things and building up your knowledge and becoming a more interesting person, but you're building that muscle of discipline and willpower, and at the same time allowing yourself to recharge and rest and relax. Because while we think that gaming can be relaxing, ultimately I've never played video games and felt more relaxed afterwards. I'm always like amped up and stressed and ready to like go and fight battles in real life. And no matter what I told myself, I never had better sleep as a result of playing video games. But reading is something you can do in the middle of the day, at night, in the morning. It's so versatile, so enriching, and it's deserved of one of the top spots of the best activities you could do when you quit gaming. Next up, number 5, something near and dear to my heart, is hiking or camping or just getting outdoors. One of the biggest needs that I found myself trying to fulfill through video games was exploration and like exploring new worlds. I always found myself drawn to RPGs like Skyrim and Fallout, and I can't even think of another one. But by exploring that idea in real life and going hiking, like climbing up mountains, and even taking a 3-week expedition to Canada, to some incredibly remote wilderness up in the northwest of the Yukon, I discovered things about myself that I never would have realized otherwise. And hiking and camping allowed me to connect to a different part of myself that I never knew existed. It's so nourishing to your entire being that spending a few days outdoors is like doing an incredible reset for your whole body. It's what I usually tell people is try to go without your phone and the internet for as long as you can in nature, and you'll soon start to see some incredible differences within yourself. You'll be more focused, you'll be more disciplined, you'll be happier, calmer, more relaxed, and you'll be less likely to constantly seek out new like distractions from social media and your phone and YouTube and all these things, and you'll start having more appreciation for the little things in life. You'll start noticing the beauty in every area, and it's so rewarding, so overwhelmingly positive in every aspect that I can think of, that there's no reason that people shouldn't spend more time outdoors. And to add to that, it's also incredibly healthy. Like you're getting exercise and walking a lot and breathing fresh air, unless you're here in Thailand, where we're in smoky season right now. But it's such a great hobby, such a great activity that can become the start of so many beautiful friendships, so many incredible experiences, so many amazing sights that you can see throughout the world, that I highly recommend you give it a go, even if you think it might not be your thing. And lastly, on the list, number 6, and this kind of doesn't fit into the rest of the categories. I say they're more hobbies, but this one is focused on learning a skill. So when you quit gaming, you might not have a lot of focus. And unless you've been through the level up program or you've gone through the exercises to figure out your ideal version of yourself and get that clarity, then more than likely you don't have a lot of direction. And learning a profitable skill is generally the best way to go in doing this. Now, I don't mean like you have to work 80 hours a week building up side hustles and turning everything into a money-focused venture, but learning a skill that you can eventually turn into a business, a profit, make something from it, and provide value to other people is an incredibly rewarding and enriching way to spend your time. Instead of wasting hours on YouTube and Twitch and on social media thinking about video games, instead you're being productive with your time in the best way possible. It's what allowed me to come out here to Thailand. It's what allows people to have a clear focus, a clear mission, something that they can set their sights on in the future. And this skill could be anything from like coding or photography that we've talked about already, or just becoming more interested in something like digital marketing or local marketing, advertising, coaching, teaching, like the list is endless. You could do like physical therapy and massage therapy or personal training. Like, honestly, the list goes on. Do a Google search of what are the best profitable skills or the most interesting or the most engaging. And maybe I'll do a video on some of the best skills that I've found, like the most business, if someone wants a life working online as a freelancer or as an entrepreneur, what are the best skills they can get involved in? If that's something you'd like to see, let me know in the comments below. But learning a profitable skill was the gateway to me living this life in Thailand, and everything I owe is to that. And in my case, it was coding with the goal of becoming a web designer, transitioning into digital marketing, and now becoming a coach, a entrepreneur, a SEO professional, all these kind of things. And you never really know where you're going to end up with a skill, but by following the roots, following the branches of that tree, it leads you down some incredible paths and places that you never would have experienced otherwise. Alright guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Let me know, what are some of your favorite hobbies to do after you quit gaming, and are there any in this list where you're going to give them a go, or you're more interested in learning about them in more detail? And if you didn't notice already, I've just finished my first program on overcoming video game addiction and becoming truly game free. It's called Level Up, and it contains everything that I've learned over the last few years about quitting gaming and failing so many times by detoxing and trying to quit with willpower, and until I learned the things that I've put into that program, into those 10 modules and those worksheets, it wasn't until I learned to fully understand that addiction and implement these principles into my life did I learn to live a life truly free of video games, without cravings, without any fear that I will ever go back to playing. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, check out the description below for a link to that. And if you want to talk more about your video game addiction, feel free to book a one-to-one call with me to discuss what your best steps are and if there's any problems I can help you overcome. But until then, don't forget to like video, comment, and subscribe to stay notified of videos in the future. And as always, I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.